Okay, so we're going to try this again. I do apologize about that. Let's go ahead and switch over. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts real quick. And we already went through all of the disclaimer and everything else like that, so I'm not going to waste my time being able to talk about that. I do want to go ahead and get into the charts. Let's go back to oil. I think we ended up getting cut off there. Obviously, I have a lot of stuff running, so my hard drive gets, I mean, not my hard drive, but my graphics card gets overpowered sometimes. So that's where we are. Now, if we'll take a look at this overall pair, and I'm getting ready to switch over so I can make sure I show everything. Okay, good. So if we take a look at what's happening with gold, remember gold at this particular point is at a position to where the weekly is the weekly is in a triangle right now. So the position is in consolidation. As we look at this market being in consolidation, if we go to the daily, we want to be able to see, can we get a breakout and a retest of this overall move? Now, if we look at this from a overall daily perspective, if we look at it from an overall daily perspective, the market has broken out towards the upside and is basically at a position to where it's done retested not once but twice on this overall move. So I am paying attention towards looking at being able to buy, but understand this: if the US dollar index starts to get a little bit stronger, we'll probably see that this market will fall down from this 50-day moving average and then start working inside of this pocket. So we have to keep that in mind. The move is towards the upside, and as long as it stays above this overall trend line, then after that we have a good move to be able to trade from down there. If you're looking at being able to trade it from a 2-hour perspective, the question is, do you have a trade to be able to get into and stay into for a while now? We can see that it's starting to move under the 200-day moving average for the 2-hour, and there has not been a counter trend line break as of yet for this overall move. So you may end up looking at this and saying, okay, well, this may not be the best time to be able to get in unless there's a full counter trend line break towards the upside, and then after that looking to be able to trade from this. But I wouldn't look at this, I wouldn't look at trading this long term at this particular point. Now I'll look at trading this short term for being able to get in and go from there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in my chat box and say hit me up and chat to ask questions. I want to see if that works for everyone. That is on my Restream Forwards for its YouTube. So if you want to ask a question or anything else like that, you can. Obviously, once again, this is a new page, so I don't expect that many people to be able to hop in, at least as of yet. But obviously, we're doing this based off of faith for people basically end up popping in and being able to start asking questions and being able to go from there. So you got to start somewhere. I believe that. All right, let's take a look at the U.S. Canadian dollar. I'm interested in being able to look at this trade. Now, couple things. One, we end up saying that the dollar is getting stronger. The dollar is getting to a point where it's going to start getting stronger. Oil is at a point where it's starting to get weaker. That gives us a great position for us being able to get in. Remember, we're looking at this market from the U.S. Canadian dollar. Even though it's actually in the sell zone, that really doesn't mean that much to me, as much as long as it stays above this overall number at 1.3185. The reason why I say that is because that's a point of control number that will start showing that we'll get some more bullish movement. So I'm looking at being able to place in buys at pending orders right around 1.3070, and then after that 1.3050. Now, if it doesn't give me an opportunity to be able to get towards those numbers, then I'm very interested in being able to buy if the market stays and starts to push up around this 1.3182 number. The reason why I say that is because if you look at the triangle from the 2-hour perspective, what will happen is this market has broken out of this overall area, and it's actually in its third phase of an overall 2-hour swing. And so if the market goes down and hits this position, then that means that it's probably going to be a little bit more in trouble. So I'll see that the 2-hour is not necessarily in the buy zone as of yet. And I want to wait and see how the market is going to end up reacting to that. But I have my eyes very closely on being able to see what happens with this overall reaction right around this spot right here. If this market ends up going below 82, 1.3182, or bounces right off of 1.3182 and starts to move toward the upside, then I start being able to place in my trades towards a long-term move. Now, this 2-hour D extension is expected to be at 1.3389. 1.3360 is a very good number for us being able to get out from a first-time move off of this one. But I am interested in being able to trade this for a daily long-term move and almost a weekly long-term move. If you're looking at this overall position, I think based off of this overall retracement and looking at this overall swing, the first D extension that you would end up seeing from this move will be at 1.3264. So the daily D extension first move will be at 1.3264. Then after that, you'll look for a retracement again. Then after that, you'll go to 1.360 all the way up to 1.35. So I'm looking at being able to buy all the way up towards that area. Does that mean that I need to stay in that position the whole time? No. If you do, that means that you can be able to add on to the trade and stack on to the trade. I love being able to get compound gains off of it. But I am interested in being able to see what happens off of this move and if this market is going to end up making a trend line break towards the upside after it ends up breaking towards bouncing off of 1.3182. Now, if it just breaks below and gets back into the triangle and starts to retest this overall trend line, then I have those pending orders, and I'm actually ready to be able to place those pending orders in if that does happen, especially if it hits 1.3070. Currently, right now, it seems like we're probably not going to get to that point, especially with this triangle, being right here, and especially with us having a point of control right around that area. I think people are going to look to be able to buy it up at that point. So that may be the best price that we may get. All right, so let's talk about stops real quick. The stop in this position, I'm looking at 1.2980. Currently, right now, we're looking at that overall position to where we are right now. That will end up being right around 210 pips from now. So let's go. Risk to be about 210 pips from this position. If we look at the overall take profit level, we know that we have a D extension at 1.3. We have a D extension on the daily at 1.32. Do I say that right? Let me go back to the daily and see what that is. I believe it's, I'm almost certain it's 1.32 though. Right. Daily's at 1.3264. So that would be the first position to be able to get out. 1.3264 is actually at the top of this overall move. So from a risk reward standpoint, that doesn't seem like the best trade to be able to take. If you are looking at being able to trade it from that perspective, you only trade it to the daily, then I'll put my stop below the overall. I'll put my stop below from the overall swing that ended up happening from this broken trend line, which will make it about 70 pips. And now you're going 70 pips for almost, in this case, 1.3264. Will be about 80 pips. So it'll be a 1-to-1 trade. Looking at that, unless I'm trying to trade it long term, I might second guess that one. But I'm gonna come back to that one real quick. We'll come back to that one. Let's take a look at the Euro United States dollar. Euro United States dollar. This market is basically retracing off of this backside trend line. We are looking at this overall move, trading it toward the downside. I want to be able to trade this down to 1.14 for the overall move. Like we said yesterday, anything above 1.18, 1.19 is a very good price to be able to get in and be able to trade towards the long term, toward the downside. However, the market has to break the trend line and has to be able to be in the sell zone to be able to get in. Oscar, what's going on? Hope everything's going well with you. We can see that currently the market. The market has went down, broken the trend line towards the upside. Now we're looking for just that slight little retracement towards the upside and then a retest off of the daily. Now the 2 hours actually showing that it's ready to go. The daily, if we want to count this first move right here, this first break as a retest, you could say, okay, I'm particularly not counting that as a retest. And looking at this overall hammer, we'll probably end up seeing a little bit more of a bullish push at this particular point in time. But once again, point of control is right around 1.1830. So that's about another 20-something pips away. So if it rejects off of this overall area and keeps on moving toward the downside, we may not be able to average into it as much as we actually wanted to, but we may, this may be the price that we may be able to get into and be able to start being able to trade it towards the downside. So I would look at being able to get in. Once again, I'm not looking at betting the farm on this one because, quite frankly, it's not in a perfect position as of yet. Even though you look at the U.S. dollar index, the U.S. dollar index is still not in the buy zone as of yet. Currently, right now, it's getting there, but it's not fully there. If that makes sense, being able to go from there. So, next thing that I end up paying attention to is seeing how the market is going to react towards that 2-hour move. Currently, right now, the market probably has about another 20-something pips before it hits back at this point and turns past support and the future resistance right around that 1.1828 area. And we can see that price has really been hovering around this overall point right here. So if it rejects off of that area and starts to move towards the downside, it's in the backside of the trend line based off of the daily. That may be one of those positions to be able to get in early and be able to go from there. If you're placing your stop anywhere, your stop has to be above 1.20. Now, remember, we talked about earlier during the week that we were looking at being able to trade up to 1.20. So there is a D extension that's still waiting for that overall move. There's a 2-hour D extension that has been broken for the A. So that means that now the only thing that we're looking for at this particular point is a retest, and then after that, a break toward the downside. But we do have a crown that's actually being formed, and I think the best position to be able to get in is right around that 1.2825 to 1.2830 area. You can be able to get in right there for selling. Then I think you have a good position to be able to sell down to 1.14. Okay, so it's not there yet. At least at 7 o'clock, it's not there, and we are looking at that overall position. Let's talk about a position that we're already in currently right now. If we're looking at overall pips wise, we're up 44. This market has moved up all the way up to, I want to say, 70 pips for its movement. And looking at this trade, I'm kind of wishing that I would have bet it a little bit heavier at this particular position at 1.3. I'm sorry, at 90.50. But this is the reason why you're trying to be safe on this overall move. The market is not in the buy zone as of yet for the move. Well, actually, it is. It just got into the buy zone. So, bam. Okay, so we're actually good. All right, so the market's in the buy zone on this particular pair. We have a counter trend line break towards the upside that we're looking at being able to get in. If we're looking at being able to trade this towards the upside, I will wait for a 2-hour low price to be able to get in on the US Swiss franc. The one thing that I'll be waiting for is a counter trend line break towards the upside. Once that counter trend line break happens towards the inside in the buy zone, there you go. You'll have your trade that you can be able to trade up to 93 for a overall long-term position. Now, stop will end up remaining to be at, let's see, stop will remain to be below 89.50. I think that's a very good position to be able to have a stop loss at. Obviously, that's below the overall D extension for the daily move. If it continues to move toward the downside, currently right now you're talking about this move that is about 156 pips away. To give you an example of what that would actually look like, if you look at our 5-star setup, and I'm really kind of showing a lot on this one. This is something that we use inside of our masterclass each and every day for being able to find some overall trading pairs. Hypothetically, we're looking at it. We said that it's 150 pips at this particular point for the overall stop. We do it based off of 5%. And let's say that our reward from here, we look at our reward. Let's see. Let's do this one more time. That goes our counter trend line break. We look at what the price is right now. 151. If we look at this from a 2-hour perspective, this market has given us an actual new 2-hour low, which would be about right here. Oh, actually it'd be about right there. Oh, let's try it over again. So this move will actually be the first C and D of this overall retracement to extension. The reason why that is so important is because typically when you have the first C and D movement, then that's where the big explosion move actually happens. And we can see that it's been very explosive for the last couple of days of being able to move up, trying to break past 91. Now, if we look at this from a point of control perspective, Let's see. Just wanna get an idea about what this market could fall down to. If I'm interested in being able to get in, I think anywhere below, anywhere above 90, 93, 90, 95 would be the area where I would want to be able to buy. Currently, right now, you're looking at the market from here at this particular point. That is about 11 pips away. If I had to place in a pending buy, let's say if I couldn't be by the computer, that would be the area where I would want to be able to get in. If I had to eyeball it and kind of see what would happen after this overall move, then obviously that would be the area where I would want to be able to get in. Obviously, anything around here would be a very good number to be able to get in. We said that our stop would be below 89.50. So we go right here. That is 90. Go to 89.50, which is about right. Should have just double clicked in. But 89.50 is right here. So we're looking at an overall stop from this area. You're talking about 140 pips essentially. And if we look at it from a 2-hour perspective and just look at where has price started to settle at, where are the areas where the price, if you keep on moving it from a 2-hour perspective and a 3-hour perspective, where would it be? The 382 is at 93.50. 93.50 from here, from that point of control, if you look at that position, you're talking about 325 pips. The point of control of the daily for this overall move is actually a little bit higher. Go back into this position. That is at 99. And I think, well, actually, there's a number at 97 we need to pay attention to. 93.38 is the first one that I'm looking at being able to get out to. We go a little bit more, we start taking a look at a little bit more. Right around the 9,300 is a perfect area to be able to get out. Anywhere around that area, I think it's the best way to be able to make something. That's from long-term movement. If we just look at based off of 2017, and let's see, go to 2017, 2018. I would say the next best area will probably be right around the 9,700 area, which would be right around here. So I'm going to go 93 to 97, then after that to 99 if the market keeps on pushing up towards the upside. So 9,300 is definitely a position being able to get in. We're talking about this from a from this position. I would say 300 pips away, a 390 risk to $700 for the reward. I would take that all day because that gives me a chance to be able to stack onto the trade while we're going from there. Let's go back to this 2 hours so I can be able to confirm what this position would be. So 9095 is the area where I want to be able to get into. Anything above 91 is a very good area. I mean, anything below 91 is a very good area of being able to get in. And I would take that very seriously for being able to get in, for being able to trade towards the long term. Now, the US Swiss franc will probably end up making the first move because it's always been an outlier when it comes down to moving. That would be my pair for being able to get in. Let's take a look at this one more time. We said 9095. Going to place a horizontal line right here at this area. Even though the market is not at that overall position, that's where the market is probably going to end up dropping to. If it drops below and you can be able to add on to the trade from there, that's great. You can get a lower price, then that's great as well. I'm not particularly looking at that. What I'm looking at is, can we buy around this area? If we can buy around this area, then I think we'll get a solid enough price to be able to go from there. And obviously, you want to scalp this market. The next 2-hour D extension is at 91.44. You're looking at being able to trade this long term. Obviously, you'll be in an area where you can add on to the trade. So there we go. Let's take a look at one more trading pair. We got time for one more. I want to look at the Australian dollar, United States dollar. Australian dollar, United States dollar. We look at and see on the daily. We want the market to be able to get into the sell zone. The market is at 68%, so it's getting closer. We can see that this market has broke the trend line, kind of like what happened with the euro dollar and every other pair at this particular point. We can see that this market has been slowly moving up. It broke the trend line a little bit earlier yesterday based off of economic news. And right now we can see kind of like that same hammer is starting to show up. I want to be able to get in when the market gets to 73.40. Currently right now the market is at 72.99. Anything above 72, anything above 73 is a great number to be able to get into. Yesterday I wish we would have got into it. I didn't place in my sale at that particular point because there was a D extension at 73.55 that was about to hit. So currently what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this position. I will place in a pending buy at 73.40 to 73.50. We can be able to get in on that price, and after that I will look at being able to trade that toward the long term. Currently right now we look at the 2 hour, we can see that this market is slowly starting to push back up towards this area. If it hits off the backside of this trend line, I think the only price that we may end up seeing is right around the 72.20 to the 73.20 to 73.30 area. So anything above that will actually be a good price to be able to get into. For my scalpers, if you're looking at possibly being able to get an extra 20 to 30 pips, maybe that might be a position to be able to look at. It actually has made its move pretty much earlier this morning when it went 34 pips towards the upside. So I kind of would be a little bit more hesitant for being able to look at that. But a break towards the downside is something that I'm definitely looking at for trading long term. Stop in this case will be above the overall swing high. The swing high at this particular point is above 74.20. So anything above 70, anything below above 75 is a solid number for being able to place your stop. Take profit on this one will be at the next point of control, which would be right around the 6,700 area. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, it'll be right around the 71.50 area if you're looking at it from a 2 hour perspective. If you're looking at it from a daily perspective, right around that 71 area. But I think this one has way more room to fall. So this one I'll be a way more patient on. I will look at obviously it's still going through an overall uptrend, so it could have some movement towards the upside. It's actually in a bullish crown. It's actually in not a morning star, jeez. It's in a golden cross area right now, so the market is still considered to be bullish. So I'll be a little bit more hesitant for my overall risk, but definitely interested in being able to sell it towards the downside. If we could be able to get a position somewhere around since 2020. If we can be able to get it at 68, somewhere around there, or being able to get out, I think that'll be a solid position to be able to get out from there. All right, so with that being said, that is my time for today. I do appreciate everyone hopping in and being able to take a look at it. If you have any more questions, obviously you can be able to ask or be able to go in and be able to ask questions from there. Obviously, we are up for this morning. So it's obviously a green day when it comes down to everything that we're doing at this particular point. But let's see if we can be able to maintain our streak for consecutive days of being in profit. And that's been short-term trades in the morning. But hopefully we can be able to do that. If you would, make sure that you like the Carter Cow Capital business page. Please make sure you go to Trade with Travis on YouTube and make sure that you end up saving that and subscribing to that. Also, please make sure that you end up sharing this video to people that you think that may end up benefiting from it. We have a boot camp that's coming up September 28th to October 2nd. It's going to end up being at 9 p.m. from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. each and every day, Monday through Friday. From that time, being able to teach new people, being able to teach people that are interested in being able to get that slight little edge when it comes down to trading long term, and being able to help you out for that and teaching you how to be able to do that. So very interested in being able to do that. Once again, understand that all you got to do is just believe in yourself. Change will end up coming, and make sure that you end up planning your trade and trading your plan. All right, everyone, y'all take it easy.